Welcome to day 32 of studying for the CDMP until I pass the exam. We are currently on chapter 5, which is data modeling. I think this is the second day within data modeling. So today I covered quite key concepts, so we sort of got an understanding of what exactly is data modeling. But maybe before I get into the detail, I just want to explain what exactly is data modeling. If I may give an example, data modeling, really the best way to think about it. For example, me and my friends founded a storage company for students. Right? When students are going home, they need to store their items, they need to make payments and all of that, right? So with that, you already know that the data that I need to capture students' details. I need to capture the payments that they've made, or some that have not made the payment or planning to make the payment later, and also the details of the items. Because how then do I make sure that I don't mix up the items? Because we assign a code to each student to make sure that we know their items and we take their items, right? So in doing that, I understood, okay, this is the business that we're building and this is the data that we need to store. So firstly, I then had a student table that contained all the student details. And then I had the payment table that contained all the payment details and the people that have made the payment. And lastly, the items table that had all the items and the descriptions. And also each item was linked to the person and you could trace if the person had made the payment. And I had to decide whether the certain column should be text or numbers and all of that. That was data modeling, and you need to design relationships between those different tables, right? So in essence, that is a data modeling. Now, a data model is then a design of how that would look on paper before you actually you actually build that in your database and all of that. So today we sort of covered some of those concepts that I just spoke about, because we looked at the types of data models, and then we also looked at the components of data of a data model, right? So the first component is an entity. An entity is more like the main table, like student. You can have the student table, you can have the item table, you can have the payment table, because those are the different entities you need to use to store or track your data. And then the other one is relationships. So we'll also cover relationships. Look, for this to actually work, you need to have relationships between your tables, right? So for me to know which student has which item, I need to be able to link it back to the customer ID and all of that. To know if student didn't pay, I need to link it back to the customer and see how much was actually paid. And that's how you are able to get so much information from your data through relationship, because if there's no relationship between these tables, you can't really trace who made the payment, whose items belongs to who, and all of that. So today we literally just covered those core components of what exactly is a data model and what are the components of a data model. I'll see you guys in day 33.